Okay, so welcome, guys. Questions, comments, everything, just send them right on over. I'm right here. But welcome to the weekly watch list. This is our Monday morning webinar. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on, what we want to go on, what should be going on, all that stuff. So I want to hear from you guys. I want to know what you guys are up to. I definitely want to know what you guys are loving. I feel like last week was kind of a slow week. There were some good trades and some good setups, and we made some profit like we, typically do. But feels like there's been a little bit of chasing and waiting and patience and all that stuff. So I feel like I need some new ideas. I need to know what you guys are up to and how things are going with you guys, and kind of just see how things are going from there. So let's see what is what's on your guys' favorite list of things to watch, and your favorite just your favorite setups. What's your favorite setup? I want to hear it. Yeah, let's share some ideas, shall we? It's a good question, Greg. USD short. I like USD short a lot. I'm definitely in for that. Oh, I like it. And I'm going to talk about the USD a bit this morning. Short term, still bullish euro. Good. Now let's talk about the euro for just a second. Yesterday, and I'll tell you guys at what time this happened, position history, or we could even say trade alerts here. I sent through the close order for our euro dollar. We had been holding that thing, and I just was honestly hating that trade. And of course, it finally starts to behave itself. But we had those two positions, right? We were in euro dollar 112.75, 113.35. It was up and it was down, and it was having a heck of a time at that 11300. It finally cleared 11300, and I just said, let's get out of this thing. Let's get out. So we took, I suggested anyways, taking a 10 pip loss. Never mind, sorry, that was a 15 pip loss. My numbers are all off here. So anyways, overall ended up with 30 pips. I think I was really tired when I was putting this trade through last night. But we ended up with profit. It was all profit. It was fine. And the euro dollar still kind of bouncing around in that area. But I just was tired of it. I had euro dollar fatigue, I think. So anyways, I suggested getting out of that. I closed it myself, took some profit, was happy about it. Wanted to see if it could go a little further, but I thought, you know what? I don't really care if it goes any further. I just want to get out of this thing. But I do like the euro dollar bullish, and I do like DXY short. I think those are two good trades, and I think the euro dollar's got some potential. And so yeah, we closed that out, leaving us with nothing more than the Aussie New Zealand. But I like this thing. And I think there's some good potential. I think euro dollar's got a good run, and I think the dollar is probably ready to roll over a little bit. I think it's dollar weakness time. But so, okay, gotcha. All right. So here's what I'm looking for here, and that is, on the side of the DXY here, just the exact same thing we've talked about. The chart hasn't really changed that much. It's been kind of all over the place, and it's just, it's staying below that 97.75, this DXY, and I'm hoping that that's going to start to turn this a little bit. So, Corey, I hear you. We need this. We need the euro to do something good. We need the dollar to do something good. Here's what I think is kind of happening, though. And we're seeing this a bit across the board with kind of the, the risk aversion kind of currencies, is that, we're seeing the yen pretty flat. We're seeing the dollar pretty flat. We're seeing Swiss franc pretty flat. And so, for those to break loose and start to move, they'll probably kind of all move together, right? We'll see probably a lot of Yeah, we've got a lot of news that's kind of in the works. You know, the China negotiations, the trade balance, or the trade agreement stuff there. You know, and all the political things that are happening. You know, when there's kind of some clarity and when things feel resolved, that's when we'll start to probably see more dollar weakness. We'll see the stock market, you know, rallying probably a little bit more, you know, robustly. And we'll start to see Swiss franc and yen movement probably as well. But all three of those, dollar, Swiss, and yen, are just kind of, you know, flattened out because there's not enough panic, but there's definitely not enough certainty of what's going on. So that's kind of just keeping things, you know, keeping things hostage a little bit. As far as news goes this week, you know, we'll have a little bit of news here. FOMC meeting minutes might do something for us. This is going to be interesting as far as news goes this week. Employment numbers for Australia. We're going to see how that goes. We've got our Aussie New Zealand trade, so we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But pretty much just kind of it's kind of boring news this week, but there's enough of it. So, you know, retail sales for Canada, ECB, a little bit out of the ECB this week, and wage prices and so on for Australia. So we've got enough news this week that the markets shouldn't be totally flat, but they might be a little bit still. I don't know. We may not get as big a movement this week as we're all hoping for, myself in particular. So, excuse me. So that's kind of the news. We definitely see, you know, it's just kind of this is kind of a little meh week this week. We've got some yen weakness, little tiny bit of strength in a few other places. Nothing super exciting to start our week off. But again, we got out of that euro dollar with some profit. We're happy about that. It's kind of right back to it. So speaking of euro dollar slash dollar index stuff, we still, I'm going to come back to the euro dollar in 2 seconds here. We still have a pretty good little setup right here. And as long as this stays below 97.75, this could be a pretty nice move back into the 95s here, which would be a nice bump up on euro dollar, Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar pairs, you know, that kind of stuff. So we're going to keep an eye on that. But that little setup, you know, remember, anything below 95 is big sell-off territory. But, excuse me, but in the meantime, we're probably going to see just a whole bunch of channeling. You know, it's been channeling for months and months in this area here. And we're, you know, at some point it's going to break out, but we're going to see a little more channeling most likely. So that's kind of where we are there. So as that plays out on euro dollar, you know, we're coming off that 97.75-ish area pretty nicely, and euro dollar should be able to make it up to this weekly pivot probably pretty easily, right? I think we hit right there. We got a little daily pivot down here, which tells me we're probably going to see some more chop. But I think there's enough upward momentum to get this thing back into that weekly pivot at 113.65. So I will keep an eye this week. I'm not excited about trading dollar stuff too much, but, and Bo, you took the words right out of my mouth, but I may try to re-enter euro dollar. And I want to re-enter that probably down around 112, 60, 70, 80. So about 40 to 60 pips below where we currently are. I want to see, you know, let's see if we can take out that daily pivot, get back down into this. We'll just call it 112.70. We'll just say right around there, and then let's see if we can get this up into that weekly pivot at 113.65. Yeah, sound good? So I do like this. I do want to get back into it, and I think there will be a decent opportunity for, you know, 80, maybe 100 pips. And Lars, you're exactly right. I noticed it. It's back again. It was so weird. I was looking through my charts. It wasn't like the pivot disappeared. It moved. It completely moved, and then it moved back. So I don't know. I was looking at my charts last night thinking, oh, my pivots are back to the right place. But so yeah, everyone good on that. I think that daily pivot, that, you know, that's around 112.75 ish. that's where I'm going to start looking at jumping back into euro dollar. And I think that weekly is a great area. I think that daily, these two dailies up here look really good. I still don't know if that's a completely hit or not hit daily pivot up there, but but I think these are great areas to go back up into. It just needs to get a little bit of a pullback here. Yeah, could be, Bo. Could be. It's getting a little. Confused here for sure. So yeah. So euro dollar's on the list this week, guys. We're gonna be doing something with that darn thing. Euro dollar. Let's go. Come on. As far as other dollar pairs go, so I like euro dollar. I do like Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar is working nicely. This is just as good of a target as you can get ever. And so this big 72 30-ish 30 40 area I think is going to be a really, really great spot to get to. Bit of Aussie news this week, so we've already got some Aussie exposure, which is why I'm not in a huge rush to get into this one. But again, weekly pivot, a couple of things down here. This made a nice little break for us, gave us a nice little move. So I do want to see this, kind of maybe the news or maybe something pushes us down to that daily pivot and that weekly pivot and then gets us going that way. So daily and weekly pivot down here, looking for some pullback into that area. And let's see if we can get this up into that 72.30. So I actually like the Aussie dollar long. I think that's a great little trade there. Euro dollar long, Aussie dollar long. I think there's some really, really good potential on both of those. So I'm going to be watching for that. It's just a bunch of dollar, kind of dollar craziness going on right now. We've got, remember we've got some pivots and some things lower on the Aussie dollar, so we're going to be kind of careful there. And it's just, excuse me, we're just trading a bunch of chop here. With most of these dollar pairs, just months and months of just sideways movement. But that sideways movement in those channels are very tradable, right? And so I think I think that lower area of euro dollar is going to be great. Lower area of this Aussie dollar should be great, and get us back into some of these upper areas, these nice upper targets that are ripe for the picking. So. Yeah, Bo. Yeah, I think I like the Aussie dollar right around this area here, right around this daily, weekly pivot zone, about 7,100 to 7,120, right in that area is where I'll be looking for, for some potential entries, which isn't too far away. It's at 7,150 right now. And we're back. A little sneezing going on there. So, yeah, so I'm going to be looking for some little pullbacks on, on all these guys, euro dollar, Aussie dollar, and start, trading these guys higher. There's not too many other euro pairs that I'm interested in, but there's definitely other Aussie pairs that I'm interested in. So well, let's do this. I want to stay on the dollar vein for a second here. So euro dollar, Aussie dollar, we like that. Of course, we've got some, New Zealand dollar that's kind of just trickling and pushing higher and kind of working its way over there. I'm a little more interested in the lower levels on the New Zealand dollar. So I'm not looking for necessarily any major upper targets yet. We have all those upper targets that are very, very much up there. In the 7,000, 71, 7150 area. So those are going to be great. But New Zealand dollar is a little different from the rest of the dollar pairs in that we've had that New Zealand movement. And we've got quite a few pivots here, including this big, massive market imbalance. And that's not something I want to trade against yet. So New Zealand dollar has this, 67.45 is the big area that I think needs to get hit before we can see that big rally on New Zealand dollar. And I'm still much more bearish New Zealand dollar itself for at least a little while longer. So yeah, I'm interested in this kind of making a dip before making a push higher. And, you know, I think New Zealand dollar, I think an easy target is going to be this weekly pivot. Super, super easy, right? Weekly pivot, 68, you know, and change, low 6,800s, but 6750-ish, I think, must get hit before this heads higher. And then when it finally does head higher, when we get that big dollar weakness trade that we're talking about and looking at and so on, then that's when, you know, that's when we start rebalancing and getting back to some of these major upper targets that are sitting back in here and 7,100 and 7,150 and all of that, which I think will happen. This is a nice consolidation here. And the question just is, when is that consolidation going to be over enough? I don't feel like I would want to be short. I don't feel like I would want to be short New Zealand dollar, even though there's great lower targets. I want to be short New Zealand other pairs, but probably not New Zealand dollar. I think there's definitely some good opportunities to trade down to that, but I like to get into trades that I feel like I can just stay in for long periods of time, that I'm in the right long-term overall direction, right? And that's what I recommend for scalping as well, right? Trade in the direction that you're okay being in for the long haul. I don't feel like I'm okay being short New Zealand dollar for the long haul, but I'm definitely okay being long New Zealand dollar for the long haul. Bo, yes, 67.45 I think is the ultimate buy zone for New Zealand dollar. So, yep. And I think this is, you know, this is the consolidation that we're seeing over here. This thing has, you know, made its nice little move, and I think this is the consolidation that we're gonna, you know, that's gonna take us up into the bigger upper targets and the bigger higher part of the range. So you know, yes, we're probably gonna see a bit more like we've seen on the dollar pairs, you know, this kind of stuff right here, where we get, you know, that, and who knows, it could last for another 2 or 3 months where this thing just bumps up and down. And like I said, that could be a great opportunity for shorting down to those lower levels. I just, you know, again, I just don't want to be in a direction that I don't think is the ultimate, you know, long-term direction here. And so I'd rather let this dip down, buy that dip, and then trade this up for those, you know, hundreds of pips up there. So, yep, 67.45 I think is our spot. So this one's definitely further away, right? We've got, you know, Aussie dollar that I think we could start potentially scaling into, you know, only 20 or 30 or 40 pips lower than where it currently is. Euro dollar, same thing. Aussie dollar's got to go down probably about 100 pips before, 150 pips, almost 130 pips before, you know, I really want to start getting into that. What do you guys think? Short at 69.40? Yeah, I mean, you know, you could, Bo. You could. Like I said, I'm probably not going to, but yeah, you know, I mean, if it pushes up into those highs, it could definitely be a great short there for sure. But probably not one that I will be taking, just because I want to stay in that long-term direction. And right now, I have a hard time believing that the dollar is going to continue to rally. It could, and this is where things are a little bit tricky, you know, as of right now. The dollar could continue to do that, right? I think technically speaking, the dollar is very overextended, and it's absolutely ready to roll over and start giving us that dollar weakness. But there's enough political mumbo jumbo going on that if things got really crazy, we could see more dollar strength. And that's where I'm like, I'm not feeling ultra confident in, you know, dollar direction. I'm feeling very confident in dollar direction, but not enough that I can say I will stay, you know, dollar short no matter what, kind of a thing, right? Because there's just enough uncertainty there that makes me a little bit nervous. Does that make sense? You guys good with that? Okay, does that make sense, guys? Any questions, any thoughts, any comments? And you know, and what you're saying there, Craig, is absolutely right. I mean, all these dollar pairs we've talked about right now, the, you know, New Zealand dollar, Aussie dollar, Euro dollar, there's great potential range trades there for sure. And probably, you know, probably we're going to stay in this range for a bit more. But like I said, I just feel like the bigger direction is dollar weakness, and I'm a little nervous trying to get into something. I mean, it depends on how you want to approach it, right? I don't like to use stop losses, and so that is how we keep. You know, I you can't just not use a stop loss because then you'll get killed, right? You have to not use a stop loss with very good reasons. And so I don't use a stop loss with the reasoning of I'm always trying to trade in the bigger direction. And that's how, I'm good. If we're trading the range, you've got to use a stop loss, which is okay. But, you're risking, a bit of a loss and some of that on the range trade. But it's all fine and dandy. I think there's lots of opportunity there for sure. Dorothy, on Aussie dollar, I'm in at that level. Should I take profit and get in again? You're already long Aussie dollar, Dorothy, and you're in some bucks. Um, yeah, I mean, I'd protect some profit. Maybe this thing doesn't pull back. I mean, I hope it does so that we can get an entry. But I would protect some profit, and if it pulls back and takes you out, then jump in at a lower price. Otherwise, it might just float up there to that imbalance up there. So yeah, I would just protect profit. Move your stop into some amount of profit and just see where it goes. Okay, good, good. All right, pullbacks and okay, good, Dorothy. Good, and good, Craig. I like it. Okay, so dollar pairs. Another dollar pair that's getting a little bit interesting is dollar CAD. I'm liking dollar CAD. Um, I think it needs to pop up and really hit this market imbalance. Maybe it doesn't. It got within like one pip there, and I'm just kind of leaving that open for a possibility. I've got a couple of pivots up above here, but along that same topic we've been talking about of dollar weakness, I'm curious to see if this is going to, really start to give us. Hold on here. Hold on. I do have some slightly bad internet here. But this isn't in my house, so my house should have normal internet. Hopefully, we'll see. We have some good targets down here. We have some pivots, and there's a lot of things down below that I think we could definitely be aiming for on this dollar CAD. It's a big, huge, fat range that takes us all the way back quite a ways. We're on the daily chart here, and this goes, when we kind of started getting into this range, was about March of 2016, and the dollar CAD has been just bouncing around that range for a long time, and it has just come off that range high, beginning of this year, had a big dip down, pulled back, and I want to see how far this thing might be looking to pull back, but I do think I like CAD. CAD strength and a short on dollar CAD. Now remember, we've got some balanced stuff up here and a weekly pivot, and we could be headed into that. But I think this one's got I think this one has a nice opportunity for a bigger sell-off. So the big levels up there. We've got some imbalances and some details that I think may need to get hit, but I'm watching this one. We haven't traded the dollar CAD too much, and I think it'll be good, if we see some 15-minute trades starting to line up or something along those lines. But the dollar CAD's got some the kind of tricky thing about it is it's got some pretty important targets up above and down below. And I just kind of want to see it push a little bit further in one direction or the other before I start trading a direction. So that is that's kind of another little dollar situation. Not doing too much with this dollar Swiss yet because remember we're still kind of looking for some reason for the Swiss to move. Here though is still a pretty good opportunity, and this one's a little bit challenging, right? Because we've talked about this dollar peso. We've traded it a couple of times. It's kind of, bouncing around here still. Looks like we're getting a little short-term head and shoulders pattern here on this dollar peso. I still want to trade this thing up to 1950. So I don't know what I'm going to do here. I don't really necessarily have some like a pending order set here yet. But I would like to trade the dollar peso up to 1950 and 1955. Those are great targets, and I want to go up there. But like I said, I'm not loving dollar strength trades right now. I'm more interested in dollar weakness trades. And so if for some reason this dollar peso takes a bigger push lower into maybe this 18.9, I might try to push something here, but just because those upper targets are so darn good. But I think it's kind of going against the overall direction that I would like to go. But dollar peso still has that unhit 1950, 1955, and on and on and on above. But I've been staying out of this one, and don't feel like I missed out on too much. But I think there's still going to be a good opportunity into that upper area there. So that's what we're looking for. Gary made some good pips scalping long dollar peso last week off the one. Great, Gary. That's awesome. That's awesome. And it's definitely a good enough setup with these upper targets to be doing something like that. So good work on that. I love to hear it. Great, great, great stuff. Dollar peso is, it's got some great potential for a bigger position trade. And it's on my list. Just know it's on my list. And I do want to trade it this week if possible. But, that dollar strength side of things is a tough one for me to want to, really hold on to for the big push. Bro, on dollar peso, 1900 to 18.9, 18.8 kind of is that spot. So between about 18, we'll just say between 18.9 and 19.0 is where I think we could be entering dollar peso long. Yep, I think so. I think that's a great spot. So we have a good idea what we're looking for on the dollar pairs. Let's talk about a couple of non-dollar pairs. So overall, we want to see some dollar weakness. There is a play on the peso for some dollar strength. There's a play on New Zealand dollar and dollar peso for dollar strength. Otherwise, looking for dollar weakness. So we'll keep an eye on those. Try to get a feel for what the market's doing and what it's wanting and expecting, and we'll start looking for those opportunities. Okay, so non-dollar pairs. We've got a couple guys lurking here still. New Zealand strength, probably a little less likely right this moment. It's about as likely as dollar strength is, which it's possible, but it's not the trade that I'm as excited about as I want to be. But we have a great market imbalance down here and some nice weekly and daily pivots. There may be a short-term trade cooking for us here this week, and I'm going to keep an eye on this thing. But New Zealand Swiss, that 6,800 area is a great thing to trade back towards, and we're right up here at some nice resistance and upper areas. So I'm going to be looking. I just want to kind of see where things go this week, but I could see us taking a trade down to 6,800, from this current price here. So there's potentially 80 to 100 pips in the New Zealand Swiss. So I'm going to be watching this. It's like I said, I'm going to be real cautious about trading dollar strength, Swiss strength, yen strength. Those are things I don't really want to do. But that's a pretty good setup, and I like that one a lot. So we're going to watch that and see kind of where that goes. I do like this setup, and I think there's some good possibilities here. So we've got the New Zealand CAD, which is big market imbalance, big target. We're struggling up here around the 9,100. So I think there's some good opportunities for this to start to run lower. So this is this is going to be something great to watch this week. We're getting a little bit of a looks like we might hit that 15-minute 200 EMA. We had a little bit of a 15-minute trade in the works there, but yeah, New Zealand CAD I think is a great opportunity. I think this would be a good trader lower. So great weekly pivot, daily pivot, market imbalance. all good things here. So nice resistance at 91, 91.15-ish area. 91.20, that's a good little resistance zone up there. So I think that's a good spot to be trading against for a move down into these areas here. So I like New Zealand CAD, and I like that move, and I think there's a great possibility there. So, so that's on the list. So New Zealand Swiss, New Zealand CAD shorts are looking good. We do have, remember, we do have a little bit of Aussie news this week, as far as I remember, right? We have Aussie employment numbers. So we're going to be a little bit careful with that. We talked about the Aussie dollar. We've got our Aussie New Zealand trade that's in a little bit of profit right now, nothing major. We may protect some profit on this Aussie New Zealand up here around 104.35. We'll be about 30 pips in profit by then, just in case the news decides to go nuts. But this 105, excuse me, this 105.25 is a great target. I love this for the Aussie New Zealand. I think this is a great spot to trade to. And if we can't grab 120 pips on this thing, I will be shocked, totally shocked. But our pivot's right there. It's good for the taking, and I love this. The trade's looking really good. So at this point on Aussie New Zealand, what we're more interested in is just getting more positions on this thing, because this is such a great setup and a great trade. So we're already in it at 104.05 right here. This is in our active positions. That's Aussie New Zealand. But if we can get some dips down, maybe if the news shoots it down and we don't get a chance to really lock in profit, then we'll just buy dips. And I wouldn't hate it if the news shot it down either. I'd be totally happy with that. So make sure, one thing to think about, especially as we're in a little bit of profit right here, only a couple of pips. If you're in too large, you might want to think about that, right? You might want to trim your position a little bit, because the news could shoot it down. And if it does, the news could drive this thing down 100 pips pretty easily. And I would be so happy about buying at 103.00 and just holding for that 105.25. But just make sure that, that your money management's good. You don't want to be in too heavy and then have the news, cause you trouble and all that stuff. So just kind of make sure you double check your trade size. Everyone good with that? Any questions there? Otherwise, Aussie New Zealand's looking great. I'm loving it. Loving it. It's a great trade. Great trade, great setup. Great everything. And we'll just stay with that one. Not doing too much on Aussie Yen. Still interested in Aussie Swiss. So if potentially, this whole thing still stands, if the news drives down the Aussie pairs, then I will be buying the heck out of Aussie Swiss. So buy this Aussie Swiss. We've got, right now we've got this market imbalance up here at, 72, just about 72.30. It's not too far away from where we currently are. There's not a ton of pips to go for right now. So, as we get down maybe into this weekly pivot, it'll be a little more appealing. So we'll have that, 71.50 area. I think I'd feel pretty good about a long at 71.50 on Aussie Swiss towards 72.30. But I'd love to wait for the news to push it down, and maybe we get down into this, into this support and this market imbalance around 71.15-ish, 20, and then we start buying up towards that 72.25.30. So I like this a lot. Just kind of keep these levels clear. I know I'm saying a lot of numbers. This is all recorded, of course, but we'll just say 71.15, 20. So 71.15, 20, and 72.25.30. So these are kind of the areas that I'd like to buy and I'd like to get out with profit. So I think that's a great little trade, super low risk, super no problem, all very good stuff. You can see that, this thing is just as range bound as ever. and kind of just hanging in there. You know, we've got some pivots down there, but I feel like this is a this is a good low risk range trade, and we could get into something like this at 71.15 and then scale in, at 70.50 and potentially scale in all the way down here at about, this is about 6,900. I'd be happy about that. Just trade that up to those upper levels. So I like Aussie Swiss a lot. I think this has got a lot of potential to it. So we want to be looking for this. Okay, so Aussie Swiss and Aussie CAD. Aussie CAD's got some great levels as well. I was watching this area, and I did kind of miss the heck out of this whole thing here. I didn't get any Aussie CAD entries. I don't think it's a totally missed trade yet, but I do. I'm a little bummed I didn't get in that original, 9,400 area. But nice little imbalance up here at about 90, just shy of 9,500, and just shy of 9,600. So we've got two great levels right there to target, and I think we will hopefully get some good opportunities to jump into some of those. We've got some, some imbalances down here, and some pivots. So this one's a little tricky. We've got, great lower targets, great upper targets, and I don't really know where it's headed first. So, so I want to watch this pair and just, if there's any pullbacks, if there's any, runs back to hit the, the lower pivots and so on, I'm going to be watching this thing and ready to buy it and trade it higher. So I'd like to overall get longish Aussie pairs. I like short New Zealand pairs, except for that New Zealand dollar. And even short term, I like short New Zealand dollar. But I want to get short New Zealand pairs, long Aussie pairs, and ultimately short USD pairs. So, or excuse me, short USD, which is mostly long USD pairs. So I want to get long Aussie dollar, long Euro dollar, long New Zealand dollar. So my overall outlook is Aussie strength, possibly some New Zealand weakness, hopefully some New Zealand weakness. And some U.S. dollar weakness with some Swiss franc weakness speckled in there as well. All right, what do you guys think about that? How's everyone feeling about that whole scenario, situation? Questions, comments, thoughts, details? Anybody? I think that's going to keep us plenty busy this week. And guys, don't hesitate. Hit me up with some, with questions you have, with money management details and thoughts and questions and so on. I'm totally here and happy to help. Everyone good on all that? Good to see you, Jack. Hey, Jack. Hopefully you're not freezing out there in Minnesota. Hopefully it's nice. Henry, nice to see you. And Greg, hello. Everyone feel pretty clear on the stuff? Let's do it indeed. Let's do it. Thanks, Dorothy. Good. All right. Thanks, Manjit. Good to see you, my friend. All right. So good, guys. Let's kind of take it from there. Julie, good to see you. Happy to have you with us. And Lester, welcome. Bob, hello. Joe, glad you made it back into the webinar. Glad that's working for you. Sorry about the confusion this morning. Good. Hey, Bob. No problem, Julie. The webinar will be recorded, and the recording will be posted shortly, so no worries there. Okay, guys. Jim, good to see you. Jim and Jim, two Jims in here. Good to see you guys, and hello, Dwayne and Gary. Good to see everyone. Dennis, my friend, happy to have you with us. Craig, Carl, Bo, Andy. Hello, Andy. Okay, guys, let's leave it at that. Dwayne, the move move has just been going on and on. We got here and the inspector couldn't see the place for like a week to give us the final inspection. So that is supposed to happen tomorrow. So our stuff has been sitting, and we're just waiting. But the final inspection should be tomorrow, and then we'll get all of our stuff moved in and hopefully go from there. So we've been in a little bit of limbo for the last week. moves are never easy, and this one has been a challenge for sure. So yes, yep, Bob, surf to snow, and man, there has been some snow out here. So if anybody has any great experience, by the way, I know this is totally off the topic here, but if anybody has any great experience with great snow vehicles, I am currently trading in my front-wheel drive car, which front-wheel drive's great, but I need to get something SUV, truck, something. So I want to hear the details. Bo, keeping the California residence, keeping the California footprint. We're just going to spend a little bit of time in Utah, and good real estate opportunity out here. So we're going to spend some time out here and see how it goes. So yeah, Range Rover's nice. I've had a few Land Rovers. They've been great. So that might have to be what happens. So good. All right. Well, guys, I won't hold you any longer. Do you have any thoughts, any questions? I'm here for a few more minutes. Otherwise, let's get busy and make some pips. I'll get the watch list posted. I'll get the recording up and get the charts going as well. So we'll take it from there. But there you go, Dorothy. I've been looking at those as well. Looking at the big family masher, Yahoo or Yukons, Tahoes. Thinking of both those at the same time. Good. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I've been looking at those as well. Audis are definitely nice. It's a great snow vehicle. And you should know, Lars, you're out there in Snow City. So those are great. Yeah, absolutely. Good. Volvo SUV. Good. Oh, you guys are full of suggestions here. Good. Boring but built like a tank. Nine gets through anything. I love it. You know, those SUVs, those Volvo SUVs are super nice. They are really nice. I haven't ever driven in one, but I think they look great. I know Volvos are always good. So, good suggestions, you guys. Julie, are you in some snowy area? You out there in the snow? Okay, gotcha. Uh, Jim, it's funny that you say I was looking at the old H1s last night online. Man, like they have all these 1990s. They're like 1993, 1996. You know, these H1s, these Humvees. They're like 100 grand. I thought, geez, I thought the newer ones were a little more expensive, but the older ones are crazy. So yeah, yep, they're intense too. I have been looking at some Teslas as well. I feel like those Model X's are pretty nice. Then I'm on call 24/7. Yeah, gosh. Do you have some medical background, Julie? Are you a nurse or a doctor or a ambulance or something? Oh, a midwife. Good for you. Wow. You do have to be able to get through all of it. Oh, good for you. That's awesome. Yeah, there's lots of urgency there, so that's cool. Yeah. Thank goodness for all that technology, Bob. You gotta get the computers keeping those wheels on the ground, which has been tricky out here. It is slippery. Driving around in the snow is uh, is definitely a tricky situation. So we'll see how it goes. Dwayne, I think they're. I don't think really anymore. I know it was a total mining town, but I think the mining. I don't think they do any more of it. I think it's just pure tourism and skiing and so on. But I know it was a big mining town. But I don't. I'm not 100% sure about that, by the way. But I don't think they do anymore. But I know Utah has some big mines. They have that big copper mine out here and some other stuff. So yeah. Take care, Lars. Take care. But yeah, good stuff out here. All right, guys. I will. I'll let you guys get on with your lovely Monday morning. Happy President's Day to everyone in the U.S. Happy whatever the deal is in Canada. Sorry that I don't know what it is. I didn't see it on the calendar. I know it's something. And have a good Monday, guys. And I think we'll have a good week. We have not. We just don't take losses too often here. and I thought the euro dollar was going to be as close as we got to one. And I was getting pretty yucked out about that. So, we're just making money consistently, and I hope everyone's able to follow the trades along and make money with us. The trades have just been good week after week. Not a pat on the back for Jared moment, but I'm just saying hopefully everyone's making money with us here. So I know we've got a lot of new people in here, and I don't open up the enrollment to the group very often, so I like to let the new people get settled in and get familiar with everything before we let new people, other new people come in. I want to make sure that everyone's here and able to, follow the trades along and make some good bucks with us. And so if you're having any confusions, any problems with anything, don't hesitate to send me a message or contact me. I'll be happy to help and, answer some questions and clarify anything that might not make sense or might not be working out for you too well. And we'll make sure that, we'll just keep making money here. So we'll stay at it. Thanks a bunch, everybody. Nice to be with you all. Have a good Monday. Lots of updates, lots of details coming. The recording will be posted shortly. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Lester. Take care, everybody. We'll see you guys.